That's a huge concern. Kids aren't just watching content, they're getting recommended videos that just keep them glued to the screens even longer. And sometimes those algorithms lead to really weird places. Remember all those creepy YouTube videos that were algorithms? And welcome back to Reaction. No, wrong show.
That 2 hour nap didn't work.
Well, I just recorded a bunch yesterday. That's kind of what I was doing all day more. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just in that mindset. So everyone, welcome back to the Convoluted Podcast. It's your host, Jesus, aka Tyrant, Dominus, and I'm here with Liz. And it's just your first time listening or watching. Thank you for following us. Liz, how has your week been?
Chaos. So it's just been my mom here in town, gone out of town, here in town, gone out of town. It's been fun.
She's a lady on the move. Lady on the move,
yes, huh? The jet setter, basically. I mean, it's been fine. It's been good. We also have a new hire started this week. It's been fun. She's great, and so far, so good. So we are good. And I didn't make her cry. Maybe made myself cry, but that's okay.
Bruh. Fingers crossed they stay longer. I hope my curse didn't pass along to you. With how
I hope not.
Because yeah, we're about to lose 2 more people in the near future, so we'll see how that goes.
We're losing somebody in, I think, the summertime, so this will be fun.
I don't know what's happening these days, Liz. I don't know what's happening. People are complaining about not having enough money to eat, and then they're just like, no job. I don't know what's wrong with the world, but yeah. So yeah, I had a, for the most part, a very average week, though when payday came around, apparently I worked too hard. So they're gonna be taking some of that work back and taking that money portion back too. So I have to deal with that whole debacle. So
that's crazy.
So yeah, now I have to be dealing with some payroll shenanigans in the background. While they fix all that stuff, because it was one simple click of a button mistake that screwed up my payroll, and now if it was a little bit, it probably wouldn't have mattered much, but it was like a good portion. So now it's probably gonna be, so now I have to be wary of how I spend money for the next 2 weeks. I think they said 2-3 weeks. And you know, like talking about like finances, like you gotta be careful. It's like it's almost the end of the month for me at the time of this release, like time for bills. So like, why?
Of course, yes. This is the beginning of the month. Yeah, it's March 1st, y'all.
Yeah, at the time of the recording, it's the March 1st. Yeah, and I'm like, damn, why did that have to happen? Like, trust me, as much as I really want that paycheck, I'm like, damn. Someone screwed up, and I know they're gonna come after me. So because that's how it always happens. They can never, if it's their mistake, like you can't keep.
You always gotta pay it back too. I hate it. I'm like, really?
I think this happened to you, didn't it? I think you.
Yes, I think it was a while back. They gave us a bonus that we didn't have a bonus, and I had to pay it back. And I was like, well, I'm doing it very slowly, trickle it out. Oh, you need me to pay back? Okay, well. It is. You're gonna pay so much X amount of money out of my paycheck every week going out for the next, I don't know, 4 weeks or whatever the heck it was. I was like,
yeah.
I should have quit then and ran away with the money.
You would have got a bill. That would have been funny. But yeah, that's kind of where my situation is. But like you said, the weather is getting better in the Pacific Northwest in certain areas. We've been enjoying some calm, warmish weather, and I've hoped to utilize this a little bit more, mostly because it's that season to start getting to do stuff more outside. Use go out, just do more stuff out, because yeah, it's hard to get out and about in the winter season. Like we don't have it as bad as some states and some cities to get
Mm-hmm.
snowed in and stuff like that. Even though we had that one single day that the people in this area went crazy on.
And I missed it. That was great too.
I know, the single day that everyone panicked for, and then nothing happened. It was like it was. I think it was like at this point, it's like probably been 2-ish weeks, and it's like changed 180. Like
Yeah, about
like
2 weeks. Yeah.
yeah, and so we're like, it's over. Things are getting better. It's still chilly in the mornings, but I don't mind that. I like chilly mornings, because then we get a nice warm evening. Warm in a sense, but you
Mm-hmm.
could walk around in
It
shorts.
feels like it
So
would like it took a flip. Yeah, I actually been wearing shorts the last couple of days. Actually, it's been really nice. Been wearing sandals. The days are getting definitely a little longer. It's been enjoyable for sure.
yeah, it's almost daylight savings time. So remember that, people. I know,
I'm
but you
hoping
don't
that
have to.
that law went
You
through
don't
so
have
we're
to
not to
deal.
do it.
You don't have to deal with it. I do, because I work in the graveyard time where the time actually changes. I feel it. I feel the change.
I sort of feel it too. When you spring 402, you spring it. I lose an hour of sleep. So thank you very much.
I
Even though
live
I
it
go to
though.
bed at 9, I will lose that hour.
Okay. Is there anything else, Liz, you want to talk about, or before we kind of jump into the episode?
Nope. Nope. We're good. And today we got a stacked episode for you, from the death of an internet relic to a heist worthy of Hollywood film, plus a deep dive in whether your toddler is already an iPad addict.
So let's kick things off on our first topic. And man, this one hits the nostalgia nerve. So
Mm-hmm.
here's a throwback for you. Remember Skype? That sound? The weird
Mm-hmm.
lag? The awkward face webcam freezes? Well, pour one out, because Microsoft has officially announced that it's shutting down Skype in May. According to The Guardian, Microsoft will officially discontinue Skype on May 31st, 2025, after 21 years of operation. That's right, the app that once revolutionized video calling is officially retired.
Wait, Skype still existed? I thought that thing died years ago when Zoom and Discord took over.
Sorry. Uh, It turns out it's still kicking, mostly for corporate calls and stubborn users who refuse to upgrade. But now Microsoft is pushing everyone to Teams. They're saying it has more, or an integrated experience. According to Microsoft official blog, Teams offers a modern, streamlined communication experience built to meet today's hybrid work and digital collaboration needs. Sounds like PR speak for we're done investing in Skype.
Integrated experience. Microsoft speaks for we are forcing you into our ecosystem whether you like it or not.
Bingo. Let's not forget, Microsoft bought Skype for $8.5 billion back in
That's freaking a
2011.
lot of money in 2011.
Now,
Inflation today.
so now, over a decade later, they're basically sweeping it under the rug. According to Bloomberg, Microsoft's acquisition of Skype was meant to bolster its online communication compatibility, but it's over the years Skype fell behind the newer platforms like Zoom and Discord surged ahead. Talk about bad investment.
Okay, but real talk. Who uses Skype anymore? Like, when was the last time you opened up that app?
That's that's a real good question, because I think we were gonna use what. Yeah, we decided not to, because I was I was not new in Discord, uh, and I was like an old boomer when it came to Discord. But we did adapted and we learned. It's one of those things you just gotta learn. And a lot of people, I think, also the rise of the video things happened during the pandemic. People just really needed communications. Skype wasn't bad. A lot of people use Skype. We got a lot of news stories during the pandemic because of Skype. Uh,
Zoom, don't forget Zoom. Zoom was popular back in the COVID era.
Exactly. Yeah. So it was all those things, right? But definitely, I think Zoom and Discord really popped off. Mostly depending on what was used. Discord definitely has a multitude use. Like there's different small community pocket stuff you can do. And then Zoom was a lot more smooth as far as what I was seeing when people. Yeah, it's been a while, and but it just never kept up with the times. Skype did. Meanwhile, Zoom and Discord did adapt. They became more user friendly, while Skype stayed Skype. The New York Times pointed out that Skype's decline started with Microsoft failure to innovate, making the platform feel outdated in an era of rapid digital transformation.
So, what does that mean for people still using Skype? Is Teams a good replacement?
That's the thing. Teams is built for office environments. It's not a casual video chat tool Skype was. If you're a regular user looking for a chill way to video call, you're better off with Zoom or FaceTime. And let's be real, most people just default to WhatsApp videos calls these days. AP News also highlighted that Teams, while powerful for enterprise, lacks simplicity and widespread appeal that all once made Skype the go-to platform for global conversations.
But let's get real. Skype had its time, and it's like the app back in the early 2000s. Remember all those late night Skype calls, the weird pixelated video, the horror of calling your crush and realizing the camera was on?
The trauma. Could forget the classic Skype ringtone, the ingrained in my brain?
Oh no, PTS unlocked. And
Another interesting bit. Did you know Skype was actually critical in shaping internet culture? Back in the day, it was the go-to for YouTubers, gamers, long-distance relationships. Even tech professionals relied on it before Slack and Zoom took over. Skype was basically the FaceTime before Face.
that I do remember that Skype interviews are a good thing. Now it's Zoom or Google Meet. And let's be honest, when's the last time you used a good Skype connection? It was always, can you hear me? Oh wait, you're frozen.
Exactly. And speaking of tech nostalgia, here's a fun fact. Skype was originally developed in Estonia before being acquired by eBay in 2005, then sold to Microsoft in 2011. So this app has been passed around more than a bad chain.
Oh god. Rip Skype. So long and thanks for that weird lagging calls.
So with Skype officially being retired, let's ask the big question: what's the real MVP of video calling? Zoom, Discord, or have we just moved past video calls altogether? Honestly, Discord has been killing it, but I feel like people have just defaulted to FaceTime or WhatsApp. Who wants to open another app when everything's already on your?
Yeah, video calls are more built in. We don't need a separate app like we did back in the day. Skype walks so Zoom could run and then crash mid call.
That's the real question. The real question is, will anyone miss Skype? I can see a couple people, or are we just here for the meme?
Let's put the to our listeners. Do you have a fond memory of Skype, or is it just the natural order of a techno evolution? Hit us up on social media and let us know.
All right, we're gonna jump into the next topic, but before that, what do you think, Liz? Is it good that Skype's done? That it? Or...
I think it has been fading a long time ago, especially by 2011. Everything got replaced by FaceTime or Zoom or Google Meet or uh, I guess now it's more official. It seems now in my world, but I mean, you think about it, it's just yeah, it is not. I don't forget. I don't miss it. I haven't forgotten about it. It's like, can you hear me? Can you see me? Oh, you're frozen. That's still like that's still
The
still kind
trauma,
of goes through my
Liz, the
head.
trauma.
The trauma, right?
Emotional
So I'm
damage.
just saying. I mean, from you and for me, it's just like we have. That was the rage back then, back in 2005. I mean, that was such a huge rage. In 2006, I definitely used it. But it just kind of faded away from the limelight right about that time too, because that's when Teams started up and everything else. So we were seeing better quality, and FaceTime obviously was huge then too, about
Oh yeah,
2006, 2007. So
FaceTime, the Apple's FaceTime popped off real hard. Everyone wanted some FaceTime level adaptation, and like the articles said, other Skype like products came out, Zoom, Discord, WhatsApp, even Instagram does video calls too. Like there's just so many options now that it was basically Microsoft's fumble that kind of let Skype kind of fall on the wayside. And that's to its own detriment. Even it was a huge loss in money, because that's how much was it again?
8.5 billion. Something like that.
Sheesh, what an investment. Because the idea, like, oh, you're getting a video calling service, and during 2005, right? That was like
2011. It was when they sold it, but
so they were in the early days of video calls, and they just never got it working. It's that's their own fault for that. It sucks because like these days a lot of video calls are now a lot smoother, depending on connections. There's a lot of different options like we mentioned earlier, and just some of them are a little easier than others to use. But in your opinion, as someone who what we'll say what video calling services do you use or have you used in the last, I'll say in the last year and a half?
I still use FaceTime from time to time, but obviously Discord right now, and we still do Teams meetings at work. So, and some of us are not exactly in the same room, so it works for us. A lot of us like it. I haven't really used any other thing but that. I might have used Google Meet over a couple years ago, but I haven't. And so.
So there's a lot out there. There's a lot, and I personally have used like Discord. I've used Instagram. I've used Zoom. Maybe not in the last year. Probably the same time frame. The last year, I think I've used Google Meets and Discord. Maybe one time in the last year. Nothing else. But that's just kind of preference too, right? It's just what people use and how they're connected. That's the other thing is connectivity, right? Like you have to be for Skype to work. For the most part, most people had to be on their computers, but then they made the app. But then like you have to get people like contact information. Like if you're on FaceTime, or like you already have their contact information. If you have Google Meets or Microsoft Teams, you probably already have their emails connected to your email. You'll have that. Discord, you're either on a server or your friends already on Discord. And it's just that level. Like Instagram, if you're already following each other on Instagram, you can just call someone. That's the thing. It's just connectivity. What's easy. And I think Microsoft just kind of like screwed up real bad. All right. Shifting gears from a death of an interest legend to the biggest crypto heist in history. Get ready, because this one sounds straight out of a cyber thriller.
We're talking about $1.4 billion left. That billion was a B. And surprise, surprise, the FBI is pointing fingers at North Korea's infamous Lazarus Group. These guys are basically the Ocean Elevens of cybercrime.
Yep. And they didn't just pull this off overnight. According to Forbes, the hackers orchestrated a sophisticated attack on Bybit, one of the largest crypto exchanges, draining over 1.4 billion in assets. That makes it the biggest crypto heist ever recorded.
Here's the kicker. This isn't North Korea's first rodeo. The FBI have linked them to several major crypto thefts in the past. Tech in Asia report that North Korea-backed hackers excuse me, have stolen an estimated $3 billion in crypto over the last 5 years, funding the regime's nuclear ambitions. So yeah, it's not just a cyber heist. They're just literally financing weapons.
That's the scary part. Crypto theft isn't just about rich guys losing digital coin, it has real world consequences. The FBI says that they've been able to track around 140 million of the stolen funds, but recovering, that's another story.
Okay, here's what blows my mind. Bybit actually covered the entire loss. According to the finance magnates, Bybit fully reimbursed affected customers and facilitated $6.1 billion in withdrawals post-hack, ensuring no user losses. I mean, that's impressive. Most exchanges just tell you take the L and move on.
Yeah, that's a rare move. Usually when an exchange gets hacked, users are left holding the bag, but Bybit response raises a bigger question. Should crypto platforms be required to compensate users, or does that go against the whole decentralized, trustless philosophy of crypto?
That's a paradox of crypto, right? It's supposed to be decentralized, but the second something goes wrong, they're like, where's my refund? Can't have it both ways.
True. Let's talk security for a second. Cointopia reported that most of the stolen funds was moved through a mix of... Wait, what? Oh, Coinopedia? Coinopedia, thank you. Coinopedia reported that most of the stolen funds were moved through a mix of crypto tumblers and obscure decentralized exchanges, making them nearly impossible to trace. So these hackers are really good at covering their tracks.
Okay, let's pause for a second. Crypto tumblers. Basically money laundering for Bitcoin, right?
Exactly. They mix stolen funds with legitimate transactions to make tracing the origin nearly impossible. When you're dealing with groups like Lazarus, who have been refining their technique for years, it's a nightmare for investigators.
I'm gonna pause for a second. I just trying to imagine like these hackers in North Korea in like dirty tank tops, probably somewhat obese, like in a like a very warm room because of all the computer systems. That just went through my head. I'm sorry. That's what I was figuring.
So
that's what my brain went to. I'm like,
normally you would be right, but think about it this way also. It's North Korea. You're not getting a lot of obese people in North Korea.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like my brain went to like, yeah, dirty tank tops, all like scrambling over computers, like that's where my brain went. I don't know why. I was thinking maybe a movie as you were talking, like it started the movie thing, like there's my brain, the movie aspect of it, like.
True. All right, continue.
Sorry. I just had to sidestep and that one. Where were we? Oh yeah, and let's not forget North Korea just like stealing isn't just stealing money for the sake of it. They need cash, and with heavily global sanctions cutting off their access to traditional banking, crypto crime has been their financial lifeline. According to the hack raid, the Lazarus Group's cyber heists are estimated to have funded up to 50% of North Korea's missile development program. That's terrifying.
Yeah, think about it. This isn't just about some rogue hackers cashing in on Bitcoin. This is a state-sponsored cyber warfare. They're using stolen funds to build weapons, and that's why the FBI is all over this. Newsbites even noted that the investigators have identified accounts linked to stolen funds on multiple exchanges and are working on international agents to freeze assets. But with the speed of which crypto moves, it's an uphill battle.
So let's break it down. North Korea has the government backed hackers pulling off $1 billion heist. The stolen funds fueling nuclear programs and exchanges like Bybit are expected to eat the loss. Is crypto even safe at this point?
That's the big question. And this isn't just about Bybit. Hackreed pointed out that the crypto industry suffers losses exceeding $4 billion from hacks in 2024 alone, making it one of the riskiest digital asset classes. So yeah, crypto has security problems. Look at all the rug pulls and stuff that are just happening on a individual level.
It's only going to get worse. Hackers are getting smarter, governments are struggling to regulate it, and the average investor is still out there thinking NFT monkey is good investment.
Speaking of that, where's your Bored Ape, Liz?
Yeah, you don't start with me. That thing's worth less than a Starbucks coffee now.
All right, before we wrap it up, quick question to our listeners. Would you still invest in crypto after hearing this, or is it just too risky? Hit it up on social media or any other platform to let us know down in the comments. But Liz, what are your thoughts on this whole like shenanigans that happened with this heist, and also how the company
my money wasn't involved?
You're not into the whole crypto investing market, are you?
No, I wish I had jumped on the Trump coin for the moment just because I heard one of my friends who invested like 4,000 got like $2 million out of it. So like, like it blows my mind. But no, I don't think it's worth the investment. I think it's a lot of stress and hassle. But I am, that's awesome that this company is taking like the financial idea of like standard banks that they have that qualification of being like, if anything happens to you, we'll back you up, blah blah blah. But you know what I mean, like it's a good thing on that company. That makes it a little bit comforting, but at the same time really sucky, because how much money do they really lose? I mean, are they gonna
Exactly.
even be able to stay afloat? They're gonna flounder because of this, or it's a risk. It's a risk on both parties. I mean, whether the person who's investing to the company that's hosting it to, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the big question. Mostly when companies and countries are now trying to make their currency digitized. Like you mentioned earlier, we had Trump coin, we had Melania coin, and Venezuela. I think it was Venezuela that just was trying to get their own crypto coin up for their country. It's just, and a lot of those flopped. Like if you're not in the early games, a lot of those people, like if your friend really invested early on to Trump and was able to pull before the rug pull happened, then they lucked out real good, like real good to get, because it happens. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it was a couple of years ago when we had one of our guests that like early Doge. If I would have spent a little bit more money on it when we were in the pandemic, because it was like super cheap, super dirt cheap. If I would have invested like a few extra couple like $100, I think actually a good example, if I would have invested one retro check on it, just single retro check when I first bought some for fun. I just bought some Dogecoin for fun. And then I would have bought it at peak when Elon Musk was going crazy. Not political Elon Musk, like SNL Elon Musk. I could have sold all my that and ended up with close to, I think I calculated to $1.8 million. One retro check. But that's the risk you take when it comes to any investment. More so the crypto stuff, because it can be taken away because there's little to no security on it. Like that's the shitty part, and that's where that's what the thing is. When you're investing, you're putting your money on the line, and depending on who you're working with and what their policies are, you just hope that you aren't at a loss. Because as far as just crypto goes, and things like you're just putting blind faith on it and hoping you still go for it, Like if I still have all my Doge. I wish I sold it a little bit ago, but it's from when I bought it, it was worth 1/100th of a penny, and now it's worth $22, 22 cents. So I have money. It was like I have a good chunk of money from it. I wish I put more because I think I spent $20 on Doge when it was 1/100th of a penny, $20, and now it's worth like 6K. So 20 to 6K, that's not bad. That's not bad. So but it's always fluctuating. It's and that's how investment go. That's how the stock market go. That's just, it's a risk. But when it comes to crypto, you just got to be careful with your wallets because it can be taken, it can be hacked, and you just hope. And it's good that this company was able to recuperate that loss. But like you said earlier, how long can they do it? And the other thing is, it's hard when it's such a, basically a nation like invested group doing it. That's like the crazy part. Like, that we have because there's groups like that. There's rogue groups that just do it to steal money for money's sake. Because we've heard people just do that. They just steal money. They're robbers. They're bank heisters, but in the digital age. But it's now it's like the government funded style things, and like it's crazy. Any other thoughts, Liz?
Definitely. No, I'm good on my company for backing up their investors, but at the same time, it's still sucky that this money's funneling to a weapons program essentially.
But our tax dollars are doing the exact same thing, so can't really.
I know.
All right, let's talk about something that has parents everywhere freaking out, Liz. Kids and screens. Specifically, the rise of what internet calls iPad kids. Those toddlers who can navigate an iPad better than your grandma can use a remote. And I think we've talked about briefly. We've talked about this. But let's continue.
We definitely have. Oh yeah, I've seen it. My 2-year-old barely able to form sentences but somehow they're out here swiping through YouTube like tech prodigy. According to NPR, 40% of children now have their own screens by the age of 2. 2 years old. When I was 2, I was playing with the actual toys, not doom scrolling.
When did you get your first screen device? Like phone, or basically phone with our screen
My
device?
first phone was back in 2005, but then that was the Nokia phone. So the rage of the time. You had the Nokia phone. And you can't really do much except for maybe play that free Snake game.
Well, we can consider it. We can consider that. Well, so.
But I really didn't play it on my phone for that reason. I was always calling or texting somebody. And remember, you had to press those buttons to get to your letter.
True. So let's consider screen device, the first like iPhone, iPad, tablet style thing. When did you get your first that style device?
Oh God, I want to say 2011, 2012, somewhere around that range. That was my first iPad, like back then. I think I still have that somewhere. In a block. But that was probably the first time I actually invested into a screen because I wanted it. Of course, it didn't take long for somebody to destroy it, but then come forward with it either for like the very longest time. I was pissed.
Oof. But now, we had to wait forever. But now kids as young as 2 get their own screen, Liz. Can you believe that? So
yeah, but you have to have them. Sorry, I'm going to interject just a moment. You definitely still have to have them a little bit of screen time because you don't want to hinder the growth because that's what schools are using nowadays.
So let's continue with this before maybe your thoughts will change, because let's see here, because the number keeps growing. Common Sense Media did a study showing that by the age of 8, over 85% of kids own their own personal screen device with a daily use average around 2 to 3 hours. That's just personal screen time, not counting the time they spent staring at a TV or their parents' phone.
The question, are we raising a generation of digital zombies, or is this the next step in human evolution? I mean, back in the day, parents freaked out over too much TV. Now it's just tablets.
That's a good point. But here's where things get interesting. According to Forbes, many experts are concerned of the excessive screen exposure at a young age may lead to attention issues, social development delays, and sleep deprivation. We're not just talking about kids on screen too much. There's a real science behind how this affects brain development.
Oh, and don't forget the social media aspect. TechCrunch reported that a surprising number of iPad kids are now active on X, formerly Twitter, at shockingly young ages. Like, what are they even tweeting? Just my fifth Capri Sun of the day. Life is good.
Ugh, being on Twitter right now is it's a garble. I can only imagine if
Cringe.
they can only be on that right now. I would feel bad for them. I don't know, but it's a little unnerving to think about, especially since Scary Mama published. What the heck was that article? Interesting.
I don't
Scary
know.
Mama, mom, yeah, mommy. Is it mommy or mama?
Let's get mommy. It's
Mommy.
mommy. I see it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Scary
It kind of
mommy.
has a weird little like thing on my screen.
Oh,
Scary Mama, or Mommy, whatever, published a report showing that its kids exposed to screen excessively during early development may struggle with impulse control, emotional regulation later in life. We're talking about real potential long-term effects.
and it's just not attention issues. The Guardian highlighted that excessive screen exposure is now linked to delays in language development, with kids spending more time consuming content and less time engaging in verbal interactions. That is a big deal. Kids learn to talk about with interacting with people, not by watching Peppa Pig for 5 hours.
Right. And here's a wild stat. Scary Mommy also found that 60% of parents admit to using screens as a way to calm their kids down. We all get it. Sometimes handing over a tablet is the easiest way to avoid a tantrum. But when it comes to a daily habit, it starts shaping their entire attention span.
And let's be real, not just kids, adults are glued to screens too. If we're doom scrolling all day, how do we expect kids to be any different? We're basically modeling the same behavior.
Exactly. And here's something else. There's a debate over whether kids should have personal devices. The Littlest Digital Citizen article by Forbes mentioned that the structured screen use with parental involvement can enhance learning and problem solving skills. So the issue isn't just screens, but how they're used.
Yes, but moderation is tough when parents use screens as babysitters. Let's be real. How many times have you seen a kid melting down at a restaurant and the instant solution is handing them an iPad?
A lot. Not only at restaurants, everywhere, everywhere. And look, no judgment here. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But when it becomes a habit instead of an emergency tool, that's when the problem starts.
And here's a new crazy twist. TechCrunch reported that more than 50% of parents worry about AI powered algorithms shaking their kids' content consumption. That's right. Not just the kids are watching screens, it's that AI is deciding what they watch. That's some Black Mirror stuff.
That's a huge concern. Kids aren't just watching content, they're getting recommended videos that just keep them glued to the screens even longer. And sometimes those algorithms lead to really weird places. Remember all those creepy YouTube videos that were algorithm generated? I think we also talked about that a
Hmm.
couple of months ago.
The nightmare fuel. So what's the solution? Do we just ban screens until kids are turned 10? Throw all the iPads into the ocean? Start raising kids like the 90s again with VHS and Leapfrog.
Honestly,
Does anybody
ballot.
use Leapfrog still?
I don't know. Actually, is Leapfrog around? Is it around? Let me see.
Leapfrog? It's still around. I know it still
Oh yeah,
exists,
is it
but
like is it
how?
modernized?
Yeah, is it modernized? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but it's just sorry. I haven't thought about Leapfrog, and that was like something you could do. Wasn't it like a like a commercial and you buy it on the TV kind of thing? Eight
Yeah,
hundred number
I always
Leapfrog.
saw Leapfrog as toys and stuff, but they have an app. They
I
have a
figured they
tablet.
did.
They have a tablet, but it's all like educational based, which I would rather them use that than end up on YouTube for hours, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You're learning letters and math and
Yeah, like
such, which is
this is
all
something
important stuff.
I generally would actually buy like my nephews and nieces instead of having them just spend them watching the same garbage YouTube. My God, like the things my nephew watch, like it's brain rot like times two. Like it's like just nothing. But but yeah, that's
Right?
kind of how it is, right? It's how it is. And like I said earlier, balance is key. Experts suggest strategies like 1-for-1 rules. For every 1 hour of screen time, kids should do 1 hour of non-screen activities. Some parents are also limiting screen time use to weekends only, like kind of like a digital cheat day.
I like that idea. But also, schools should start teaching digital literacy. Kids are going to use screens no matter what. But we should be at least teaching how to use them responsibly.
Exactly. As much as we joke about iPad kids, this conversation every parent needs to have. So let's hear from you. Do you think kids are too dependent on screens, or is it just a natural evolution of childhood? Let us know down in the comments or on social media. But Liz, what are some of your other thoughts on this talk and debate, and what's been happening as of this, as we dive a little bit deeper?
Yeah, I think it is true that should be moderating a little bit more and creating less screen time. But at the same time, I think sometimes some screen time is good too because you still don't want to lack them in the necessary involvement to doing schoolwork and such like that. I mean, I had cousins of mine who did that to their children, and by the time digital age of iPads came around, because that's how school works, right? Especially during COVID, they didn't know how to work it at all. They had no idea. I mean, we have to. I think there's a balance. Yes, I get it. We don't. The better off not learning as much, but I think they still have to. They still have to adapt to the digital age. It's just as much as us as the '90s. I mean, my brother still barely knows how to work a computer. Like, and he's a year younger than I am. We all had to learn. We all had to adapt. I mean, but we can't exactly deprive ourselves of adaptation, but we can't exactly have them doom scrolling either. So I I I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because we all had to adapt. We all had to grow to the modern age, and we still are. I mean, think about us. Jesus, do you remember? Do you remember like how we were kids, and then here we are in our teenage years, and then our adult years now. It just keeps the revolution of digital media has expanded beyond what we all imagined it to be, right?
And
So
it's just continuing,
I don't
and it's
know.
just continuing. But the real
And it's
question
just a
is,
continuing.
when is too much too much though? As a parent, when is
I
too much
agree.
too much?
There's too much.
No, when is too much too
There is too
much?
much. Exactly. I don't know when is too much, but I think definitely doing it for 12 hours, 16 hours a day on your social media is just not good. You know, I absolutely agree. It's not good. I agree that it should be an hour for an hour, and you know, even if it's just music in the background, that's fine by me, as long as you're doing something constructive. So,
How
working
much
with your
should
hands, creating art, or doing stuff.
then how much responsibility should be held by the parents as far as
A
this?
lot of it, 100% of it, at least. 100, because the kids can't make that decision. They don't know. The parents have to kind of rationalize it, a little bit here, a little bit there. But yeah, I get it. Like, we don't, to avoid a tantrum in a restaurant because you get your one outing a week, this is your parent time, your family time out at a nice place. Am I frozen?
No, yeah, no. I'm just listening. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely is. It's a mix of definitely on the parents, like you said, because they're the ones handling the devices. They're the ones giving it to the children. So it depends on how they manage it, but then the parents also have to show a like be an example for the children on how to use screen time, because definitely a lot of my siblings with kids are really poor examples of how to use phones, because my one of my nephews already imitating their mother, and they just scroll on YouTube and social media for 6 to 7 hours a day, just like and as a 4-year-old, instead of just running around playing outdoors. I'm like, and that's half because you gotta engage with the child when you can, as much as you said, right? Like everyone needs a break, but using it as a crutch to an extended level, that's a little bit much. Mostly when studies are showing now how it affects them on multiple levels, like literacy level, attention levels. That's the problem we're going to be get in a generational aspect. If 80% are getting by the age of 8, they did, or give or take, if that every kid are just losing, and look how people are these days. We did that video where we're just seeing how people's educational levels, remember that? Imagine
Yeah.
imagine that with this coming up of generation alpha. I think it's alpha or beta, I don't know what these kids are.
It's beta that started.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine their level, if that's how their attention and what.
Sorry, I got the note. It's a girl.
Oh, you guessed it right. Congratulations.
I did not get that right. I was not. I was hoping for a boy.
Told you the cycle has been broken. The avatar has changed. So for anyone wondering, Liz, you can explain it, Liz.
Sorry. I'm excited.
Explain why to the listeners.
Explain why what?
You're
Sorry, I
excited.
missed that. I'm excited because I have a new niece to this family. My sister is pregnant, and we just found out the gender. So you got that live reaction when you watch this or listen to this.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure that
Sorry,
niece.
guys, I interrupted the whole thing for this.
Make sure that niece Liz doesn't spend 7 hours on their iPad.
I will try not to. I'm learning my lesson.
But yeah. So, any final thoughts or any advice you could, as someone who has an older child, but just you have the nieces and
Oh, I'm seeing
nephews.
the repercussions, and I feel bad, but I know that we weren't always on iPads. We were always on. We were definitely a TV. Definitely, that was our distraction back then. So, um,
So
I'm
what?
still dealing with the.
No, yeah. Go ahead, continue your thoughts here.
I'm still dealing with the repercussions of having too much screen time, but also, I think I have still learning to do on that too. So I'm just as guilty, and I'm feeling the repercussions, and hopefully we can figure out the happy bottom of this. I mean, for sure.
All right. All right, buckle up, everyone, because the next topic takes us into some dark territories. One that's unfolding across the United States and raising serious ethical questions. We're talking about involuntary psychiatric commitment. Commitments. Yeah, and it's shocking lawsuits exposing the system's flaws. I think we've talked about a couple of these stories, but there's one that happened recently. Yeah.
This is some real life horror movie stuff. Imagine being forced into a psychiatric facility against your will. Not because you're a danger to yourself or others, but because of financial incentives. Sound insane, right? Well, exactly what's happening.
Exactly. According to the Washington Post, a major psychiatric hospital in DC has been accused of intentionally committing patients for extended stays in order to boost profits. We're talking about people who didn't need to be there and were held there anyways because more patients meant more insurance payouts.
That's absolutely disgusting. These are vulnerable people, some of them who probably did need help, But instead of care, they got trapped into a system designed to make money off of them.
And it's not just DC. Mother Jones reported that Florida recently expanded its Baker Act, making it easier to involuntarily commit people, including children, without their consent. And guess what? A lawsuit is already challenging it, arguing that it's being abused to sweep people into institutions without proper justification.
Wait, what? Kids? Florida's making it to force the kids into psychiatric holds? It feels like a wild dystopian. That is a lot. What's the logic behind this?
The argument from lawmakers is that it's supposed to provide quicker intervention for those who need mental health care. But the problem is, critics say it's being weaponized. There are those who need mental. There are already reports of schools misusing the Baker Act to send disruptive students into psychiatric facilities instead of offering actual support. NBC News found that some parents only learned their children have been taken to psychiatric hospitals after the fact with no warning. Imagine sending your kid to school and then finding out hours later that have been forcibly committed without your knowledge.
That's just messed up. And once they're in the system, that's how do you get them out? Because imagine those places aren't in a rush to let you go.
Bingo! That's what makes this terrifying. According to Missouri Independent, the Department of Justice found that Missouri was illegally holding mentally ill individuals in nursing homes instead of providing proper psychiatric care, by violating federal law in the process. These people weren't getting help, they were just getting stashed away and forgotten about.
It's like something out of the One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But instead of being fiction, it's real and it's happening now.
And in Ohio is next. NBC4i reported that disability rights groups are fighting against a proposed law that would expand involuntary psychiatric commitment in the state. A concern is that it's being abused just like in Florida. This proportionally affecting homeless population and low-income individuals. Because let's be real, when there's these politics get abused, it's always marginalized communities that suffer the most.
What's the end game here? Our hospitals are looking at people with mental health issues like dollar signs? Because that's what it sounds like.
Pretty much. Mental health facilities rely on insurance payouts, and the longer a patient stays, the more money they bring in. The system should be about providing proper treatment, but in most cases, it's about maximizing profits. But because psychiatric patients often can't advocate for themselves, boom, they get trapped.
So what's the actual legal protections here? Like someone can be thrown into a psych ward with no recourse?
Technically, there are supposed to be some protections. Patients have the right to appeal involuntary commitments, for example, but in practice, it's a mess. Once you're inside, you might not even know your rights. And if you don't have the money for a lawyer, good luck. Mother Jones noted that many involuntary committed patients find themselves in legal limbo with legal access to legal representations or due process.
That's so messed up. Mental health care is supposed to help people, not turn into a corporate money grab.
Right? And that's why lawsuits are so important. If hospitals are abusing the system, they need to be held accountable. People need to be aware because this could happen to anyone.
Yeah, if you think that this is happening to other people, think again. A bad day, an emotion outburst, the wrong person reporting you, and suddenly you're stuck in a psych ward and no clear way out.
So, everyone listening or watching, we want to hear from you. What do you think about this involuntary psychiatric commitment? Should it be easier or harder to enforce? Should there be stricter laws to prevent abuse? Let us know down in the comments or on social media. But Liz, what are some of your other thoughts on this situation?
It's crazy. Just crazy. Somebody having a bad day, and I won't lie. I had a bad day yesterday. I literally was shutting down. I was so pissed off and so sad and upset. And literally, I could have been tossed into a psych ward. We wouldn't be doing this podcast right now because I would not be able to have my commitment to myself there because I wouldn't have any rules. An advocate, you could try and advocate. People would think, oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're crazy. It blows my mind, and the fact that it expanded to children blows my mind. That is not how we're supposed to help people with mental health. We're supposed to help them and not just we're gonna throw them into a psych ward. Call it good. I think they're having a mental breakdown today, and yesterday, and the day before, and tomorrow.
Oh, we gotta rake the money in, Liz. We gotta rake every person that comes in is a money bag. We gotta keep them in, Liz.
It is money grabbing. It's money grabbing. I know it is, but it's just disheartening. We just think about it. In the last couple of years, we've been trying to voice that we need mental health and help in getting the right proper tools to create a better health environment for people that may have an unstable molecule under their brain. But then you put people in just because they're having a bad day. That's outrageous to me. This is how we're going back to the 90s. You don't talk about your feelings. You don't talk about anything. You are a strong person. That's it. You don't cry. You don't get mad. That's the end of it.
Hey, that keeps you out of the psych road. I'm down. I am down.
Of course you would. Of course. It blows my mind.
Like you mentioned, it's a Black Mirror episode turned real because it's happening. It is happening. It is a Twilight Zone. It's not something like, oh, it could happen in that. Nope, it is happening. It is a sad truth, and it's if things like these reports don't showcase, it's just no one would talk about it, and people would just be locked away. It's very disheartening, and depending on the establishment, you just never know. It could even be just your partner. I think one of the big stories was a husband reported his wife is having suicidal thoughts, and she was sent away, and she only escaped because she was able to get a hold of one of the either the nurses or doctor's phones to call for a lawyer. That's the only way. Besides that, she was just stuck in there because of her husband.
Yeah. Sometimes people utilize it. Oh, they're having a bad, getaway with. As I was thinking, this article was talking about, financial gain and people who could have gotten, I don't know, spousal support or a will of some sort. And I was thinking that was my brain went to first, but then this turned totally opposite of what I was thinking of. That's even scarier, I think, honestly. And just wow. I have no words. It's you just one day you're sleeping in your bed, the next you're thrown into a psych ward because you oversleeping. I don't know, for 5 minutes.
You made eggs the wrong way. You're crazy.
I know, exactly. My bad.
All right.
We can't afford those eggs. Remember that.
Oh, that's a good transition because let's talk about something that affects all of us. Food prices, the economy. You got to love that. More specifically, the insane cost of eggs. The billion-dollar government response trying to fix it.
Yep, that bird flu is back and causing absolute chaos. And you know what you think? Bird flu. Didn't we deal with that already? Apparently not, because it's wreaking havoc on egg production. The USDA says just about $1 billion to plan to deal with it.
That's right. According to MSN News, the USDA is investing over $1 billion to combat the latest avian flu outbreak, which has resulted in the culling of millions of poultry, drastically affecting egg supply and prices. Basically, the government is throwing big money at this problem.
Mm-hmm. And they need to. Egg prices are ridiculous. Why am I paying $7 for a freaking dozen eggs? I did not sign up for this.
Seriously, and it's not just about grocery bills. This impacts bakeries, restaurants, even vaccine production, since eggs are used in making flu shots. According to the Washington Post, the widespread loss of egg-laying hens have created a ripple effect across the multiple industries, raising concerns about long-term stability.
So what's about this USDA actually doing about the $1 billion plan? And they're just throwing money at farmers and hoping for the best?
Not quite. See, CBS News reported that the USDA's strategy includes increasing biosecurity measures, expanding vaccine research, and providing financial aid to affected poultry farms to help them recover losses. In other words, they're trying to prevent further outbreaks and help farmers rebuild.
Wait, so there's a vaccine for bird flu. Why aren't we just vaccinating all the chickens?
That's a good question. There is a vaccine, but it's complicated. Today.com explained that while bird flu vaccines exist, they're not widely used in commercial poultry due to logistical challenges and trade restrictions with other countries. So, if the US vaccinates its poultry, some countries might ban American chicken exports, which could hurt the industry.
It's such a weird dilemma. Do we let bird flu keep wrecking everything, or do we risk losing international sales?
Exactly. And here's another layer. Scientists are debating whether vaccinations could actually drive the virus to mutate into more dangerous strains. CBS News noted that selective vaccination can put evolutionary pressure on viruses, potentially leading to more restrictions and lethal variants over time. So yeah, it's not a simple fix.
Oh, like COVID all over again. Vaccination debates, economic concerns, and the looming fear of mutations. Lovely.
Pretty much. And let's not forget that this isn't the first time we've seen egg prices skyrocket. Remember last year when eggs were more expensive than steak? The difference now is that the USDA is stepping in before things get totally out of control.
Let's just play this out. Let's say the USDA plan works. Does this mean eggs will actually go down, or are we stuck with the overpriced omelets forever?
That's the billion-dollar question here. Washington Post and analytics suggest that prices should stabilize within the next 6 months if the outbreak is contained, but if more flocks get infected, we could see another round of price hikes. So basically, we're at the
So basically, we're at the mercy of some rogue chickens deciding whether or not they want to catch the flu. Got it.
pretty much. And here's the wild thought: what if this pushes people towards lab-grown eggs?
Oh, no, that would be interesting. Are we talking about fake eggs, just like just egg, or scientists are actually growing aerial eggs in a lab?
Both, actually. There's been a huge push in alternative protein industries to create cultured eggs. Basically, eggs produced without chickens. Ooh, interesting. Food scientists believe that lab grown eggs could be viable replacements in traditional poultry farms becoming too unstable due to outbreaks like this one. There's already a company working on it.
I mean, if lab-grown eggs taste the same and scramble the same, I'm down. But if they turn out those rubbery tofu eggs, count me out.
Fair. But if it rises an interesting questions, are we moving towards a future where we don't need traditional farms at all? We already have lab grown meat, now lab grown eggs. What's next?
Lab-grown bacon. Actually, that sounds something I would try.
Same. Let's throw it to our listeners and watchers. Do you guys think lab grown eggs could be the future? Or should we just focus on fixing traditional farming? Like always, leave it down in the comments or let us know on social media. But Liz, what are your thoughts on this potential fix for the egg price market?
I mean, I could see it lab-grown eggs used for vaccinations, like you was talking in the article, and we've known this for years. This is how you predict your flu strains and all that shenanigans, and your flu vaccines. I could see it used that way. That would save a whole ton of eggs from actual production that use by chickens, the real chickens, not lab grown. I mean, think about it. Think about it. I mean, you think you create those eggs in a lab. to the people who are making those vaccinations. There you go. That saves us having to buy eggs out of our actual industry of chicken laying eggs to be used for consumption elsewhere. Right? Right?
Yeah.
Think about it. I mean, the thing it's just it's not the ideal thing, but it would save. Think about how many eggs are used to create vaccinations. So if we used lab grown ones, it would be a little bit. It would take a little bit of pressure off chickens growing those eggs or laying those eggs, right?
Yeah. It's just definitely that's one thing. It just I think there's too many factors, and it's a long process, right? It's gonna take a long time, mostly with how trying to avoid political talk, just how the government is right now, trying to put all these policies into place. Like, I'm glad that they're pushing some things because, like we said, the economy has barely improved as far as at least our grocery levels, right? Like it's not so fun. I think the last time I went, I don't even want to look at my receipts times, just cause.
And I know it's ridiculous. And you have to find sales, and then you gotta find where the eggs are cheaper, and it's been a interesting couple months, that's for sure, with these egg prices and the bird flu. And yeah, it's great if you want to go get some fresh eggs from the chickens, down the farm, around the corner. But not like you can, not everybody can, have eggs on hand. It's
We did
so
for a while.
weird. Yeah. And then last long. The coyotes got them.
No, they were being properly taken care of. Like I said, my family, they do not know how to take care of animals. You know that. I've told you. I've said it multiple times on the show. My family, or at least like my family, you know what I mean. Give them an animal, and they said they're gonna take care of it. They don't. They take care of it for the first few weeks, and then they leave it to the whims of the world. And it could have been done right, but they just never. And now they're getting rid of them. Like, it caused more problems than they helped. Like, I'd rather pay extra for eggs than
save some eggs.
Like, I would pay for the egg prices and the problems that they occurred. So that's how.
Yeah, I just don't like spending $7 for a cheap dozen of eggs.
It's funny that's cheap.
That's the shitty part, You'd be like $1.99, 3 years ago, and now it's fucking $7.50 for the cheap ass dozen. You're like, what? That's the cheapest eggs. That's gross. And those are not my favorite eggs. Those are like the last resort kind of thing. Like, I need eggs in the house kind of thing. It's gross. It's gross. It is so gross. I mean, granted, organic only went up a couple more bucks, but I mean, think about it. Oregon has the free range. It doesn't matter what chicken you have; it's a free range chicken, So it is. That's crazy. It blows my fucking mind.
Exactly. So I'm hoping in the next couple, like I said, in the next 6 months, 6+ months, we get to see some of these things go into effect. That hopefully we just gotta wait. So we're in March. So not until September, Liz. Is that right? That 9 months is September?
Yeah, 6 months, because I only know my half birthday's coming up at that time.
Did they say 6 months?
Around the corner, yeah.
6 months?
You said 6 months, so 9 months would be almost Christmas time. Hopefully by Christmas time we'll have a lot of delicious delectables to enjoy those lovely pastries.
But yeah, but definitely summer we're gonna be we will be egg low here. Gonna be a chickenless, eggless summer. But it sounds like.
I know pork has just been the cheaper version, so the other way meat.
There you go.
Get your portion of meat.
So that's kind of the thing. Let's hope some of these policies do go into effect and actually go into proper and helping just these farmers, and just because there's a lot to this situation, and At the end of the day, the everyday populace is the one having to suffer for just getting some scrambled eggs. But let's talk about something big that almost happened, Liz, because we're about to cover some heavy topics as our last today. Let's switch gears to something that sounds catastrophic, but apparently we didn't need to panic because NASA just confirmed that an asteroid that was supposed to hit Earth in 2032 is no longer a threat.
Oh, great. So this planet killer that has everyone freaking out online, turns out it's just another Tuesday in space. And haven't they been saying this for years? So they just haven't. I mean, I can't remember how many times I've heard this.
Yeah. So according to NASA's latest calculations, asteroid 2024 YR4 no longer poses any significant risk to Earth in 2032 or beyond. That means the doomsday headlines were way overblown again.
Okay, but we can talk about how. Can we talk about it every few months? We get the asteroid headed for Earth news cycles. It's the universe gaslighting us.
Right. It's not just clickbait. NASA does track thousands of near-Earth objects, but only a tiny fraction of them actually dangerous. This time, initial calculations suggested YR4 had a small chance of impact, but after further tracking, CBS News reported that the new trajectory model ruled out any possibility of collision.
Basically, someone at NASA looked at the space math again and went, "Oops, I bet you're fine."
Pretty much. It's kind of wild how it's supposed to happen, or always happens. The Providence Journal pointed out that even when asteroids appear on the risk list, improved tracking and calculation almost show it's not actually a threat. And that's exactly what happened here.
Okay, but hear me. But if they hadn't ruled it out, what was the worst case scenario?
Okay, we're talking about big impact energy. ABC News estimated that if YR4 actually did hit Earth, it could have unleashed an energy equivalent to multiple nuclear bombs. Not extinction level, but definitely enough to wipe out a major city. Scientists estimated it could have been in par with the Tungsta event. What is that? A massive explosion in Siberia in 1904 that flattened 800 square miles of forest. Oof.
I seem to recall that. Yeah. Cool. So no big deal. Just potential city level destruction. So how did they figure out it wasn't coming for us after all?
Good question. NASA's planetary defense team used more precise tracking and used new data came in, and they adjusted YR's projected path. The Hill reported that observations from ground-based telescopes refined the asteroid's orbit, confirming it will pass Earth as a safe distance. So yeah, no impact, just another flyby.
Okay, but here's my issue. Why does the media always run with death rock incoming angle before waiting for the math to settle?
Because fear sells, Liz. It's way more exciting to say asteroid could destroy Earth. Then scientists do their jobs and find out. That's because we're on an organization that like NASA's Planetary Defense Coordination Office, which is literally dedicated to tracking and mitigating asteroids threats. They're out there making sure we don't end up like Michael Bay's movie.
Right? And didn't NASA recently smash a spacecraft into an asteroid to test planetary defense?
That was the DART mission, NASA's double asteroid redirection test. Last year, they slammed a spacecraft into an asteroid called Dimorphos, I believe that's how it's pronounced, just to see if they could change its orbit. And guess what? It worked. ABC News called it the first real demonstration of what we have the capability to deflect an asteroid if necessary. Scientists measured a notable shift in Dimorphos' path, proving we can redirect space rock if we have enough time.
Basically, we do have a backup plan. If a space rock actually comes for us, we're just gonna yeet a satellite at it and hope for the best.
That's the general idea. That's the key in early detection. If we spot an asteroid far enough in advance, small nudges like a spacecraft impact can shift the path away from Earth. That's why tracking these objects is so important.
Okay, real talk. Do you think we'll ever actually have a serious asteroid threat in our lifetime? Or is this a sci-fi drama?
It's possible. Statistically, large impacts are rare, but they do happen. NASA keeps a list of potential hazard asteroids, and while none of them are an immediate threat, the universe is unpredictable. We might get unlucky for another 1,000 years, or we might get a surprise rock in the next century.
Great. The universe is just rolling dice. We're just hoping it doesn't land on total annihilation.
Exactly, but that's kind of the world and the spaceship we're on, Liz, as we float in space. But yeah, aren't you happy that we can survive until 2032 plus?
Sure. Hopefully the prices will be mere nothing right then.
But yeah, this has been the headline, and like you said, doom scrolling. You know, doom scrolling has been, it gets people, it gets in some people's heads. I know two individuals that just, they get into these pocket like spirals when with different things like war, asteroids, nuclear stuff, pandemics. Like it's it gets in their head, and then they get into these like rabbit holes on the internet, social media. And they panic. And articles like this, they don't make it easy. They do not make it easy.
Yeah.
I don't know how your circle of friends and family are when it comes to like this doom scroll kind of information.
No, I have no idea. My friends don't talk about this kind of stuff.
They didn't know a rock was going to hit us in 2032?
I think we've been hearing this since we were children. Do you think this like... Do you think it changes our outcome? We're already doomed as it is, right?
Yeah, at the moment. We can barely afford eggs, apparently.
We didn't predict that when we were kids, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm still kind of a Notre Dominus and Babaka, whatever her name is. I'm still into that kind of stuff because I feel like those people had an idea, but sometimes it's off and we misread things, and I think we all do it. I think we look at our article, misread the title, and go what, and then we go into it, right? Just like that rabbit hole. We'll just be like, what's going on in this rabbit hole? And we dive, and then we go up there and go, okay, something seems illogical here. Again, and people, mental health. We come back to mental health again. We talk about this. I mean, we doom scroll because we're, what's the word? We're doom scrolling because we don't want to, we avoid the hard topics to talk about, right? Or the things we don't want to deal with. And it's like, but then you get into these rabbit holes, and then you create this mental health pocket of our brain going, oh no, we're doomed to be killed by another rock in space. So
yeah,
I think we covered a lot here, and I feel like it's all interconnected somehow in some way, in some weird, our corner of the universe.
And yeah, that wraps up another wild episode of the Convoluted Podcast. We covered a lot today, from billion-dollar corporate decisions to literal planetary survival. Let's do a quick recap on everything we talked about.
First, we mourned, or just maybe acknowledged, the death of Skype. Microsoft is pulling the plug after 20 plus years, providing that not even an $8.5 billion acquisition can save you from obsolescence. Weird Skype ringtone.
And look at that shit.
Then we dove into the biggest crypto heist in history, with North Korea's Lazarus Group stealing $1.4 billion from Bybit. The FBI is tracking some of the money, but crypto security is still looking sketchy at best. Is the future of digital currency doomed, to be a hacker's playground?
Next, we talked about iPad kids. How about 40% of kids have screens by the age of 2 and how that might be messing with their development? But hey, if they can swipe before they can walk, maybe they'll grow up to be super genius or just really good at skipping ads.
Then we tackled something way darker, the ongoing abuse of involuntary psychiatric commitments. Lawsuits are exposing somehow hospitals might be locking people up just for raking in the insurance money. And in Florida, the Expand Baker Act is raising serious concerns about how easy it can commit kids without parental consent. Scary stuff.
From there, we went to Chicken Apocalypse 2.0. The latest bird flu outbreak has wiped out millions of hens, making egg prices skyrocket again. The USDA is spending $1 billion to fix it, but the real question is, are lab-grown eggs the future? Would we eat them? Let us know.
And finally, we ended with an asteroid that wouldn't kill us. NASA has confirmed the asteroid 2024 YR4 is not coming to Earth in 2032. But just in case, they did test out the whole smash a spaceship into a rock strategy last year, and it actually works. So hey, at least we have a backup plan for space doom.
Honestly, it's comforting to know. If we get to a death rock headed our way, scientists will just slap the satellite and send it somewhere else. Human ingenuity at its finest.
So, listeners, watchers, our audience, now it's your turn. We want to hear from you. Which topic stood out the most today? Are you mourning Skype? Did you think crypto ever going to be secure? The big one, would you eat lab-grown eggs? Let us know down in the comments or on social media.
And don't forget, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with your friends. Seriously, it helps us out more than you know.
All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening or watching. And Liz, thank you for joining me. It's been a little bit longer episode, but it was a wild one. It was a wild one.
It was a very wild one.
But yeah, everyone, thanks again. Until next time, see ya.
Anything old after 93 can't cook. All they know is McDonald's charge their phony hot chip and lye.